So you've cut your teeth on Vulcan and ready for the next challenge. Well, Vykas will be sure not to disappoint you. You're going to need some more coordination as a team here, and you're going to have to execute all manners of mind games, puzzles and tests as a collective unit, so be prepared. Other than landing the world's best pug or static, here's what you can bring to the first gate. You want to get the strongest healing potion, as the damage in gate 1 is very high, especially on hard mode. You'll also want to use time stop potions, as you're going to need this to bypass mechanics that you may have failed. And also a whirlwind bomb, as there is a stagger check. Now this fight starts with both parties fighting one demon together. The demon then splits into two, which are blue and purple, and each party fights one form. Here is the breakdown of the fight by HP. At X52 the demon splits into two and the parties are separated. Blue side will deal with the white mechanics, so make sure you know them well. The purple side will deal with heavy damage and reverse targeting. You actually have to stay in the AoE to be safe rather than move out of it, which does take a while to get used to. At X50 the orb gates spawn on the blue side and it's time for a game of colour matching. At X37, Stagger check is initiated on blue, and once cleared, a black-blue pattern recall mechanic is then started. At X30, the parties are switched. Now if you thought you didn't have to do party white mechanics because you started on purple, I'm afraid you were wrong. At X25 to 22 on the blue side, the team will have to watch for a white safe zone and call it out to the purple. And then at X13, the same Stagger check and pattern at 37X will repeat. During the fight, you're going to be able to summon one of three champions to aid you. Nineveh, who replaces Tyrain as the damage dealer, your old friend Wei for stagger, and Inanna as the defensive summon. For this fight you will want to have someone on purple side be leader to use Nineveh, as the purple demon has more HP and requires more damage to be even with blue. Let's have a look at those white mechanics then. So at X50, the orb gates when you're on blue side, 4 portals will appear in each corner, and an orb that changes colour will spawn near each portal. Each person should be assigned to a corner, and all they need to do here is lure the orb by staying close to it and allowing it to follow you to the gates where its colour matches. Sounds pretty easy, right? Well, there's a few catches. The orb is always changing colour. The colours rotate red, blue, green, white and black in that order. If the orb touches you, it's going to disappear, failing the mechanic and then wiping. If the orb touches the boss, it's going to disappear, fail the mechanic and wipe again. If the orb touches the portal in the wrong colour, it deals some pretty big damage to the nearest player, and it also fails the mechanic and wipes. The orb cycle will rotate on each colour 2 times before the whole mechanic fails, so if you miss the portal colour you can keep running until the colour changes again for the correct colour before you make the orb hit that portal. The northeast and the southwest portals are always red or green, and the northwest portal and the southeast portal are always blue or white. There is some fail tolerance built in though. If one person misses an orb you're not going to wipe, but if 2 people miss the orb then you definitely will. Note that in normal mode you can time stop the damage and avoid the wipe altogether. Moving on to the X37 stagger into orb pattern on blue side. The boss will teleport to the centre and start gathering energy spheres. As soon as you pass that stagger check, each party member will get a blue or a black mark on top of their head. Everybody is going to need to take a position depending on whichever colour they get. If blue, you will need to stand northwest or southeast, and if black, you'll need to stand northeast or southwest. This is where players should stay depending on their marked colour. Then a pattern sequence will appear on the ground. Pay attention to the pattern that matches your sphere's colour. A few seconds later, orbs will start to come out in the same order, and you must prevent the orbs from reaching the boss. The pattern only moves one space at a time, so use this knowledge to follow it carefully. There are 2 primary patterns originating from the starting point and going away as far as possible, and then doubling back on the third and coming back to that starting point. Don't panic though, and remember you can miss a few orbs. Normal mode tolerance is 5 orbs and hard is 2. Once you successfully perform this mechanic, an indicator of a big AoE that will wipe the other team will appear on the ground. The safe spot is in or out for the other team, and you're going to be able to see this clearly. Quickly tell the team where to stand, otherwise they're all going to die. At X30 the parties switch. At X25 to 22 begins the safe zone. The blue side boss will teleport to the centre and 4 circles will appear at north, west, south and east. All you need to do is identify the bright white circle and tell the other team where it is. You don't need to stand in it. The team who is on purple side will need to stand on the correct spot though to prevent wiping. At X13 you're going to see this mechanic one more time, and now the pressure goes to the other party. There is also a new lethal mechanic in hard mode. It happens randomly in the fight, so you do have to pay attention at all times. If you remember Velganos' last stage pizza mechanic, well, now everybody has to do their own personal pizza. During this mechanic you should be positioned in the same position as where you would stand for the orb gate mechanic. The boss is going to teleport to the centre with all area red AoE. Go to the safe spot near the boss, wait for the explosion, then 4 orbs will appear that auto follow a single player. You're going to need to lure this orb to your position and start performing a pattern. If you succeed you'll get a shield buff to prevent the massive damage that will be done by the boss a few seconds later. If you do fail though, there are a few options to avoid getting yourself killed here. The first option is big shields and damage reduction from the support in your team, like Bard and Paladin Awakenings. The second option though is of course that trusty time stop potion. This should be used roughly 11 seconds from the time the orbs have spawned. Finally, let's quickly go over those basic attacks. Vykas Gate 1 hits extremely hard with the basic attacks. In fact, the purple side hits harder than any other phase, with only phase 2 Vykas coming close. Be patient and focus on learning the patterns. Now, we won't burden you with all of them in this video, but you can check our detailed guide for that. However, if you do remember these things, then you should be okay. Remember, purple side is inverted, so make sure you stand in the purple areas to avoid getting hit. Although the purple side is inverted, you're going to get the same animations as blue side, so study them carefully. This will help because purple hits harder than blue, and you can learn more easily on blue too. Finally, some moves do require you to keep moving, so try not to clump up too closely together if you can't move together. Otherwise, you're just going to make the other person's life a bit more difficult. Don't let those mistakes get to you, and this one should be a well-earned kill. That should give you everything that you need to know on how to get stuck into Vykas Gate 1. Good luck and have fun.